All right, so now this next video is on how to make a Gek Tor. So a Gek Tor is a torma about 3¼ inches tall, and it's used during the soak ritual at the beginning of the soak ritual, to be an offering to dispel obstacles from the practice space and for the practice focus. So this particular shape is from the Longchen Nintik tradition, specifically made by Jetsama. So it's from the Adzum Drukpa tradition of the Longchen Nintik. And it's made of 4 pieces. You have a basic body, which is like a bowling pin, sort of, with a slightly flared bottom. You have a triangular wedge, which is like an offering table. You have a round sphere, which is called a baling. And then you have this funny thing, which I'll show in a second, is wrapped around the outside. And you make a sort of snake-like roll of dough, and then you wrap it around. So this is the front of the Gek Tor. Let's see. This is the side of the Gek Tor. It's the left side, showing how the snake-like shape rolls around, wraps up, and then sticks out. And then you can see the bowling pin profile, and then you can see how the triangular wedge sticks out to support the small sphere. And then the back side, let's see, how do I get? Then the back side, you can see how on the front, the tip of the snake-like shape is pressed flat, and then it wraps around the back, and then it's extended out to the side quite dramatically. And this is unique to the style that Jetsama taught me. Other tormas have this extended thing vertical. So each different lineage has a second, has variation. So you have the generic term of Gek Tor, which is Gek is obstacles, obstructions, torma offering. And then you have in the different lineages different times. And part of that is due to these different texts are terma texts that are revealed by terma revealers, and they get direct instructions from Padmasambhava in a visionary state. And the transmission is the text, the tormas and torma shapes, the music, the melodies. It can also have dancing as part of the transmission. It can have costumes. It's very, very rich. And so now I will switch from, so we need to go back to making the dough. So now I'll unshare. Let's see, how do I unshare? Stop share. Okay, so now, I need to get the dough. Now the dough I'm working with right now is a little bit soft. So now what I did is I took, let me get these out of the way. Kitchen here. Okay, so okay, so maybe I can do this. Let's leave this. I'm adjusting the screen here a little bit. Let's see if I can get the front one. Okay, I'll just leave the side view for now. Okay, so now back to the dough. This dough is a little bit smaller than the soak tor. So I'm pinching off a bunch of dough. This is difficult dough. And the first rule of making a torma is to make a ball. I'm going to do this barehanded. And you can either roll out the dough on a stationary cutting board. Right now I've got a loose cutting board, and it's a challenge because it slides around. Okay, so now let's see, where do I go? I go this way. Okay, so now I've got a pretty spherical piece of dough. And now I need to break off a piece because I need to get a piece for the tail. So I'm going to get that. And I think I've got a little bit too much dough here. This is really soft. Okay, so now I want to get it into the bowling pin shape. So I'm going to try to roll the dough so that I taper it. I don't know if you can see how I'm doing that. So towards my palm, I'm trying to make it narrower, like sort of a cylinder, a triangular shape. And on the top and the bottom. Okay, so that's a fairly good shape, and it's still a little bit too big. Technically, you're not supposed to use knives, but it helps to get a clean edge. Now, because this dough isn't that good, I'm using water to smooth out the cracks. Okay, so now I have sort of a cylinder shape. And now I'm going to make it into the bowling pin. So you do it, let's see, where is it? Let me get this way. Okay, so you do it by pinching the dough. Okay, so this, I'm upside down. Okay. So you can see the shape is like that. And so now we need to get it into that lovely bowling pin shape. So I start in the middle and I start pinching. So I'm just pinching. Let's see, how can I angle this? Pinching around the top. Okay, trying to figure out how to angle this. Okay, so I'm pinching it. And I'm trying to get the back of my hand. Okay, maybe this will work. Okay, here we go. I think that's, let's see. There we go. I'll have to do it left-handed. Okay, so I'm pinching. And if you can see, the shape is changing. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find out how to hold it. Okay, so it's changing. And so now I'm going to have to, and then I need to pinch the head so that you notice the, do I have a pointer? No, I don't have a pointer. Oh, okay. Do you still see the Torma on your screen, or do I unshared it? I think I need to share the screen. The sharing is okay? Okay.
I only see your hands working with the dough.
Okay, so I think I can see if I can do share screen again. Share. Now, what do you see? Can you see the Torma and the dough at the same time? My screen doesn't.
I see only the Torma now. I only see the Gek Tor. Let me see if I could work it from here. Hold on one sec.
Okay, now I can see 4 windows. I mean, I can see myself, I can see my Torma tray, and I can see the Torma. Okay, so now I only see my hands. Oh, wait a second, let me pull this open. Now, can you see Anything else?
I see the Gek Tor.
Good.
And
Okay, good.
that's all people will see because I'm watching the YouTube screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go back to me then. So
Yeah.
I'll unshare that.
Okay.
Let's see, how do I do that? Stop share. All right, so let's go back. Okay, so now we're just focused on the shape of the torma. And I need to move this over so I can see the shape of the torma. Okay, all right, so we need to get a sort of a rounded head on this torma. So then I'm pinching, I can't see my hand. I'm just trying to see. Okay, so I'm pinching around the neck, around the head, and I'm trying to shape by pinching the rounded top. Is that better? Let's see, I'm gonna hold it up. Okay. So do you see a rounded top sort of happening?
Yes, I see it well.
Okay. And now I'm making the neck, which is a little narrower. And this neck is a little bit too long. So I'm going to take the top of the torma and there we go. I almost got how to angle this now. And then push down gently. And when I do that, you should see the neck a little more distinctly. And then I still need to make the face, the head a little bit more round. So I am pinching in around the top. Damn. I'm just trying to figure out which angle. Okay, I'm pinching in around the top. And then, let's see, I'm turning this because I'm trying to get it so it's easy to see. Okay, so then it's upside down, but you can see that the head is a little bit more distinct. And again, I'm pinching. The reason I know what to do is I have the shape in my mind, and I'm also looking at the picture. So I'm using my fingers to create the shape that I know is there. And then I'm lengthening the neck a little bit more. And again, the neck is a little too long. So I gently push down. Okay, so I wish you had the picture on the screen, you could see it, but maybe there'll be a way to cut that in later. Okay, so now I've got the head and the neck pretty much, and I need to get the body. So then I'm pinching this body is a little lumpy. This is a doughish. Okay, so now I need to push the neck down a little bit more to get a little fuller body. And then I'm trying to get the bottle shape. Okay, so I need to get the contours better. So now I'm taking my thumb and I'm sort of pushing down to make it thicker at the bottom. And it's not hard, the dough is very soft. It's just, I keep the shape in mind and then I direct my fingers to make the shape. And remember, I've been doing this for a lot of years. So part of this is you need to make a lot of them. Okay, so this still isn't quite what I want, but it's getting closer. Okay, so that's a little bit more bowling pin-like. And then what I need to do to tweak that is to thicken the upper part a little bit. I mean, the upper part of the bottom part. And now what I'm trying to do is to lengthen out the body part so that it's pretty even. and improve the transition from the neck to the body, which improve means that it's smoother and more contoured, and the neck is still too long. Okay. Let's see how we're doing here. So let's see. It's a little more bowling pin shaped. It's not quite what I want, but let's see if I can get the head to. I want the head to be a little bit bigger. So to make the head more round, I'm just pinching down on the top. I'm pinching the top, and I'm also pushing just a little bit with my hand. So I'm pushing sort of like that, just very gently. And then I'm tweaking the neck a little bit. There we go. Now I've got it. Okay, so that's better. Let's see, I'm going to get it so you can see it. Okay, so there we go. That's a good angle. It's upside down, but you can see there's a little bit more distinction between the head and the neck. And yes, it's sort of like that. And it was a little crooked, so you get it straight. This dough is soft, so it's crooked. So that. So now I need to tweak the body a little bit more to get a little more shoulder on the body. So I'm going to push down to make a little bit more of a shoulder. And now I'm pushing on the side. Let me see. Damn it, where is my camera? Okay, so I'm now with my thumb, I'm pushing on the side, just straight down, to sort of spread what's underneath it, to make it a little fuller. Let's see here. A little more, gotta get, there we go. Okay, like that. Now that's not enough neck. So I need to go back and lengthen the neck slightly. Okay, so let's get over here, better. And now I need to lengthen the body. So what I'm doing is I'm turning it. I should turn it upside down for you. I'm turning it and squeezing, just pinching with both fingers, just turning it and pinching, turning and pinching, turning and pinching, turning and pinching. I'm looking at my picture. Oh, that's getting pretty good. Okay, so that's a pretty good ratio. So now it looks like a bowling pin pretty much. It's a little lumpy here. Okay, now I need to flatten the bottom. So I'm putting it on the surface and shaping down to flatten the bottom because it needs to be really stable. Okay, so that's pretty close to a bowling pin shape. Okay, so that's the basic body, although it's a little lopsided right now, but there we go. Okay, so that's the basic body. Again, I think the head should be a little bit bigger, but I'm going to stop here. Well, let's see if I can, yeah, I don't think I want to do that. But anyway, the head should be just a little bit wider, and the neck, I think I need to make it slightly longer. Yeah, like that. And then the body, I'm going to roll out a little bit to lengthen it. So while I'm rolling it, I'm stretching vertically to lengthen it. And then you can see that's a lot better bowling pin. Okay, so now we need to make the snaky tail. So I'll set this to the side. This is going to be tricky with this dough. Okay, so now I've got make a ball. All right, now it's going to see if this dough is going to cooperate. And then you're going to make a coil. You know how you make little snakes when you were played with clay? We're going to make a little snake, and I may have too much. I think I've got too much dough for that. So what I did was I pinched off some extra dough. And so now we're going to make a snake. And you can do the flat of your hand like this. So I have the palm of my hand and my fingers guiding the dough. It's a little too thick. Now the way you can roll it is like that. And I need to smooth it out. And I want to get a little bit thinner for this torma. And see, this is a problem. That's okay, so I'm going to break that off. Let's see if I can thin this out. Takes you back to 2nd and 3rd grade or something like that, or younger. Because I need to have the thickness of the tail in proportion to the body. And this is a fairly, I'm just tweaking the side of the body there, a fairly small body. So the diameter of the tail needs to be proportional. Okay, it's coming. And again, this dough is pretty soft, so it's going to be a little tricky to
Laurie, how tall would you say the Gek Tor is?
I will tell you. Let's see where did I put my ruler. There it is. Should be about 3 1/4 inches. Let's see, can I see? Yep. Can you see the, oh, you can't see the, let me see if I can get the, I have to put it into the light. Can you see the ruler now? Okay. It is 3 1/4 inches. Pretty cool. Now the tail has to be longer than the diameter of the body. And this is really soft dough, so I am going to have to do a cheater trick, which is called a toothpick. If you have the right consistency of dough, the dough will be stiff enough to stand up by itself. But this particular batch came out a little bit soft. So now we're going to test it. Now the torma doesn't have a front or back until you put the attachments on, the triangular wedge. So I'm just going to do a quick test to see if I got enough dough for this. So I've got more than enough dough, but it's really, really soft. So I'm going to now put on the front and back. And you just decide, you know, what side looks the best. I'm going to taper these shoulders a little bit more. So I'm taking my thumb and just gradually curving it a little bit to heighten the bowling pin shape a little bit. Let's see, let me get this like that. And now I'm going to decide, the front would be like the smoothest side, or the side that doesn't have lumps or cracks in it. And so now I'm just going to make an executive decision. So now, in order to make the triangular wedge, which is sort of like the shelf, I start with a ball of dough, a sphere, and then I take my index and thumb and hold them in a triangular shape. Oh, let's see. What can I do? Okay, my index and thumb. I'm moving around because I'm trying to find the angle that you can see best. And it's upside down for me. Okay, so let's see, there, left, right, left, left. Okay, left. Okay, so you see that it almost looks like a triangle there just because I'm holding it that way. And then I take my opposite index finger and thumb and pinch. Let's see, I'm going to switch. Okay, so you see that? I'm going to take the opposite finger and pinch on the top. So I'm pressing down, and I've got a slight triangular thing, and then I push the back side with my thumb to form the triangle. And you can see it's a wedge. And then to shape the point, I press, shoot, I'm trying to, this is hard to do. Okay, so I'm pressing on the back of the wedge. There you go. You can see the triangle. See if I can get closer. How do I get, there we go. Okay, and then now the wedge is pretty fat. So I press down on the top like that, thumb and index. And then I'm taking my fingers and just shaping it into a triangle. And there's a special way that if you have better dough, that you can just pinch it once and it comes out perfectly. And then I'm shaping and pinching. And you see a triangular wedge. This is pretty thick. It's a little bit thick for this particular torma. So I'm going to pinch it down a little bit more and sharpen the point a little bit. And then I'm going to make a little indentation in the top. You can sort of see the indentation. I just did it with the tip of my finger, my index finger. And so that's going to be a support for the sphere. So then I go to the body and I take a finger and press in a little bit to make an indentation. Let's see. A small indentation in the front. And then I'm going to cheat and use some water. I've got a thing of water here. And I'm going to paint the back side with water. And I'm going to stick it into the stick it in to the body so that it won't fall out later if it gets too dry. And I'm just going to be sure that it's triangular and it's there, and it's a little bit above the bottom of the torma. So this creates the platform for the sphere to rest on. And then when you're working with a less buttery dough than this, it'll dry out overnight. And so then everything will firm up. So now I'm pinching off, let's see. another small amount of dough to make the sphere. And the sphere should be a little smaller than the platform. So I'm going to test it, and I'm going to pinch off a little dough and rerun the sphere. And this is nice dough because it's very plastic. I mean, it responds quickly. You see, I'm just rolling this between 3 fingers, my thumb, my index, and my middle finger. And so now I have a sphere. And then I'm going to wet my finger again and moisten the side top. And there we have. Okay. You can see it. A little closer. And again, it's a little soft. So this is an okay shape. It's a little clunky. This is a little lumpy, but it's going to be a GekTor when it's consecrated. Okay, so that's that. So this is a completed body. Well, not quite completed. Okay, the other thing I need to do is to flange the bottom. So now I put my thumb, let's see, how can I get here? Sorry about this moving around, but I'm doing everything upside down. Okay, so now I'm going to pinch to make a little expansion. So you see before the rim was straight. Now I'm going to make a little flanged rim around the outside. And I'm doing this by taking my thumb and my index and pressing in from the bottom and moving out the edge to make sort of like a bell rim. You know, if you look at the bottom of a bell, you have a little rim, like a larger bell. And so what this does is it supports the torma. And when you press it down on the plate, it makes a little suction, and you can swipe a little water under there. And so then the thing won't fall off the plate. But also the style is that this one doesn't have straight sides. It has just a slight flange. So then let me see if I can show you. It doesn't work. And you can see now it's sort of like a ravioli in a way, you know, that it flanges out a little bit, but not a whole lot. Okay, so now we have the completed body of the torma, and we want to add on the snaky attachment. So this is going to be a challenge because this dough is really, really soft. So you start with the roll on the left side, and you point it a little bit, you taper it, and you put this side there, and you press it. I need to take a second and just look at the other model here. I've got a couple of models in the background that you can't see. Okay. Okay, so. Okay, so what you do with the front is you bring it up. I got to get you the front. Okay, so oh shoot, it broke. Okay, you bring it up to the front, and you press it against the side, and then you take the tip and you crush it. You press it flat like that, so it makes a little button. And then I'm wrapping the rest of the coil around the back. And then, oh shoot, it broke. Okay, so then I'm bringing it up to make this angle. And then I'm going to pinch it off And I am going to have to use a non-allowed trick, which is I'm going to insert a toothpick in here to get the angle. That's what happens when your dough is too soft. And I'm going to have to shape. Any Tibetan saw this, they would scream. I'm breaking off the tip of the toothpick. Jetsima made this. She didn't. She had the dough, a good dough, and the picture looks great. Okay. There we go. So this should angle out just a bit more, and I can send you pictures of the angle. But this is the style that Jetsima made, which was the style for Adzum Rinpoche's tradition. There's another style where the thing is just up at the side, which is easier to make. Okay, so now I think I'll increase this just slightly.
Laurie,
Yeah.
were there ever explanations given about what the sphere is and what the snake-like wrap around is?
Nope.
Okay.
If there was, I'd share it. You know, a lot of times the monks don't know, are just told, make this, and they don't ask questions. They, you know, it's impolite to ask questions. And you know, lots, you know, there could be monks that have done this stuff for years, and they have no idea what anything means. And it's just, they just say the triangular shape is a tep, the ball is a baling, and I haven't heard a name for the snaky wrap. Oh, I forgot one thing to tell you. I forgot to do. After you make the snaky wrap, before you put it on, you squeeze, you take your hand, you lay it in your hand, and you squeeze it lightly to leave grooves. And I don't want to take this other one off because it was too much trouble to do, but can you see those finger grooves in there? Do you see that? So these grooves from your finger, and so that's, I can tell you one story. So yeah, these finger grooves are important. I should have done that. Okay, so then you would have, that would be the back of it, and that would have been, move this over. So you get an idea how the grooves would show up on the back. So that's really important. That I should almost reshoot it, because you need to do that before you wrap it on the snake, to take the snaky part. And it's a little tricky too, because the snake is kind of long, and you only do the grooves in the middle. So you have it there, and you have the pointed, you have it there where you have the pointed tip here, or the, it's pointed before you put it on, and then you squeeze it in your fist lightly to create the grooves from your fingers. And then when you wrap it on, let's see if I can turn it, when you wrap it on, as you wrap it on around the back, then you pinch you crush the front. Okay, so let me put this back together. think I may redo this another time to get it more anatomically correct. With better dough. But basically that's it. And remember the grooves. I'll write out some textual descriptions later and have illustrations of the grooving and things. So I believe, and get the right angle here. So this is a completed Gek Tor. This would be painted all red. And then you would make two, I think I can quickly do this, two paper decorations. Here they are. Okay, so then this gets, after it's painted red, you let it dry a bit. And then you make you make a circle and a teardrop. It's a good size here. So you put the circle on the front. And so the Tibetan word for white is kar, like karpo. And then the word for ornament or decoration is gen, G-Y-E-N. So tormas have many or few kargen on them. And in Adzum Rinpoche's tradition, the Kartor and Gek Tors are very simple. They just have a round spherical, a round front piece on its chest. This may be a little too small, and a teardrop shape on the top. And let's see if that proportion is good. Okay, I think I'll make the teardrop just a little bit larger. Now I'm cutting freehand because I've done this a lot, but you can buy these geometric rulers that have different shapes to trace circles. And I'm not sure if they make one that does a teardrop, but you might be able to find one, I think. And I'm just pressing this onto the dough. You can use a little bit of, well, let's see, I need to straighten this. I need to use a little water. And again, there would have been paint on this. So that would help it stick too. And then if you have a long puja and stuff, you can also take Elmer's glue and glue it on so that it doesn't fall off during the puja. And then do what you can. I can't see if I can straighten it this, but basically you want them straight. Yeah, that looks okay. So that, other than being painted, is a completed Gek Tor. And I have some nice pictures of a little smoother side tail on it. So that's the front. This is the right side. This is the back, which should have its grooves on it. And this is the other side. And this one's leaning back a little bit. So it should stand more front. And I'm going to angle this so you can see the carbon. So that completes making a Gek Tor which is the second torma that's offered in a sadhana puja. And the Gek Tor is used with also, yeah, Gek Tor is used as a offering to dispel. Actually, the Gek Tor is the weapon. The Tor is an offering torma. And then when you hold the Gek Tor on the plate, you have your fingers in a threatening mudra, and you hold it down at your waist, and you walk out. And then when you go to offer it, you turn your hand over to cause the torma to go down on the ground. So you turn forcefully to thrust it on the ground to dispel. So that concludes the presentation on the Gek Tor.